So I was planning doing a review of an underrated anime from some years back, something that went down the radar, but I still like it today, Recreators. But to my surprise, this guy already made a really good review of it. But it doesn't matter because I already thought of another great gem who also has a great premise from the same director, which is also an anime original and made this studio respected, and also why I think it was an improvement from Recreators, except for the premise / concept, which is quite different. Here is my review of ID Invaded, my second favorite anime of the great year of 2020. We follow Narihisato Akihito, a former detective who was sentenced to the horny jail after killing a certain someone. His punishment is not only to poop in a glass room, but also play Sword Art Online, where he has to figure out why that stupid character is dead. Where, in the many levels from Aincride, he helps his jailers to find and lock the most punchable assholes and make them commit Sudoku on themselves. So maybe he can find out who is the evil mastermind creating these serial killers and unmask the alcoholic circus owner. Important to note, that doesn't matter from what you look to. This anime is a huge W. This is not from the same studio from Recreators, but from the same director, and that makes a huge difference. The studio, NAS, was responsible for no other than My First Girlfriend Zagal from 2017 and My Sister My Writer, probably the worst anime from 2018. This show is a humongous step forward. Aoki A made a huge difference and led the studio to better times. Sabiko Hibisco released it this year, which unfortunately didn't have time to finish, was their latest greatest work, and I got to like it for what I see, and I definitely plan to come back. Don't know when, but I will. Even if you think this anime is weird, strange, or does not feature quality standards, I want you to understand that this is the small guy's first step to become bigger. Now for the actual anime. Oh yeah, reminding you guys to subscribe. The summary explains you a bit, but the plot for this anime is more complex than what it looks. It's a murder mystery and drama, where we follow an agency who tries to uncover serial killers and mass murderers. They use an advanced technology device that can track someone intent to kill and use that to access that person's subconscious. Our protagonist, Sakaido, deep dives into those realms, one different from another, and tries to figure out who is the killer. It's not the greatest detective show, but it surely does the job. If you're still not convinced, let me tell you how the first episode goes. It starts with what appears to be a computer in a sort of a matrix frame, then goes to a star-shaped space, then goes to molecules in a living creature, just to transition to our protagonist waking up inside the deep dive. On its first moments, it already made the concept of deep dive better than most anime. Our protagonist wakes up literally divided. No knowledge, no memory, no clues. His first instinct after assembling himself is try to figure out what is happening and find someone, and he's really good at it. Finding a body of a dead girl, Kairo. He regains his memory and purpose. All of this is inside the subconscious. Outside of it, there is a team of people responsible for gathering all data and trying to figure out who is the killer. All of that in real time. I love this. It makes every case more thrilling and exciting at the cost of we having to assemble the pieces. Look, it's cool those shows that makes the viewer fit the pieces together. I can appreciate those. However, ID Invaded is not one of these. You are watching the mystery getting resolved for you, which honestly isn't bad, I'm down for it. But I can see someone disliking or hating the show just for this. It's a preference for murder mystery media and it's up to you. The first episode also gives us some interesting information that hooks us with more questions. Only someone who has skill can deep dive. So who is Sakaido and how he managed to be eligible for a deep dive? Is he the good guy? These questions are answered as we progress with the anime and it's so good. The show is not fully centered around the protagonist. The serial killers get some attention, showing their insensitive and twisted motivations, and mostly some side characters, their relationships with Sakaido and how things came to be. And the antagonist. Look, it's kinda obvious, okay? The show doesn't do a good job hiding it, but only that is not enough to ruin it. It still is a great anime, with a great story, with interesting characters and a good protagonist. By the way, I don't know where to put it, but this anime has some perfect example of how to use ecchi and sex appeal without being obtrusive to the story. I noticed that more on the last episodes, but it's perfect. If I would give ID Invaded a theme, it would be identity, and how it's shaped by one's experience and memories. The deep dive Manchi into the subconscious truly shows the most obscure and complex minds of these killers. Some of them being awesome places, others being a nightmare fuel, and all of that comes to the question of how aware we should be of our subconscious, and if that really is a good idea. This part of the brain who makes us who we are, and is a mystery for a reason, and probably should continue to be, and that especially makes sense in the final episodes. Not the final episode, but the ones closer to that. That is what makes us who we are, what we desire the most, and also can sabotage us to make what we know shouldn't be the best for us. Music's great though. The insert songs are so good. There are more than one in the show, and they made it fit for sections that they thought it would be boring without it, and honestly, they are way more exciting with it. Way sadder as well. Good animation, but nothing special that I noticed. However, remember, it's still a W. Recreators and ID Invaders share the same director, but not a studio. Impressive how they made a difference to go from unwatchable trash to a solid anime, who can deliver some great shots. The deep dive roles were quite fascinating, from buildings exploding constantly to a house in a constant flying island, where our protagonist has to start in a free fall and has the wind constantly blowing in his clothes. It truly shows that the animators are talented and can make some great work. I know that I center my channel about the underrated stuff that usually are not worth to check. Isekais are trash and for some goddamn reason are getting sequels. My point is that ID Invaded is not the case. It truly is a fantastic show, a banger that is worth and caught my attention from 2020 and still look carefully until today, just like Recreators. It isn't perfect, has some flaws, but considering their last work, this original anime is a great success in my opinion. Not only in animation and music, but in the characters and theme, because the great difference between My Sister, My Rider and ID Invaded is that the latter gives a message to the viewer, one that is sticking until today.